after that I went to Nialtica, that's where it's right under Popocatépetl. It's right under that volcano. And there was actually, I'm sure you haven't heard of this, but if you want to look it up, in 2016, right? Yeah, in 2016, there, in about April, I think, there was a big, huge explosion. Popo exploded, and there was Pueblo was covered in ash. And there wasn't any lava, it was just ash that came out. But oh, it was so cool. It was a bummer because we couldn't go outside. And if we went outside, we had to wear goggles. These ugly, huge goggles. And they're called cubrebocas, but it's like a mask. Cubrebocas. And which means to cover your mouth. That's literally what it means. It's very literal translation. Anyway, so we were the only people like wearing those things, only the missionaries. Oh, it was so funny. All of the members, everybody was like wearing their masks, right? Because that's what they need to wear. Because if you don't, like if you inhale ash, I shouldn't scare you about this, but if you inhale ash, it kind of burns a little bit your lungs. Not like burns, like literally burns them, but it stings a little bit. It does sting a little bit, but it's not like detrimental to your health or something like that. Not horrible. But oh, it's so fun. There's just so many things I could tell you. Like Elder Bednar, he went there and said that if you are righteous, that Popo, I promise you that Popo will not explode for a long time. Just so many cool things. And like the people in Nialtica, there's 2 stakes there. Like I know that sounds like something like, oh yeah, there's 2 stakes. There's literally no stakes like in any other area that I had, in any other city that there is. There's 1 stake in every city. And there's 2 stakes there, and there's probably about half the size of people. Half the people are in Nialtica. And they're all members. There are just so many amazing people there. I have so many fond memories of that ward. I was in Tetenco. They just changed everything right before I left, but that's the ward that I was in. La Familia Jimenez Grande. There's a ton of them, but Germán and Dulce and Cari, Esme, they're so dear to me. They don't understand how dear they are to me. Ruby, oh my gosh, she's adorable. She's a 3-year-old. She's got to be 3 now. She was like 1 when I was there. She's got to be about 3 now, I think. I hope so. I hope she doesn't get any bigger. I just love her. They're just awesome. Anyway, if you're ever there, please visit them. Tell them that I love them. Hermana Robertson. That's how you say my name there, Robertson, but Robertson. They'll change your name too. I love it. I love them. So in Nialtica, the best thing, there's just so many awesome memories that I have. It was hard there. The work was a little hard, and I remember one time we got a reference, and we were going to knock on their door, and they weren't home. And so we knocked on the other person's door, which always need to do. That's a tip from me, is always, if you get a reference, you're there for a purpose. Like, you're in that place for a purpose. So always, if they're not there, you go to the next person's door. Hey, they weren't there. Or, do you know like what time they're usually home? I'll tell you in Spanish. Pues estamos buscando a la hermana Vicky. That's who we were looking for, was Vicky. And, pues estamos buscando a la hermana Vicky. Pues, ¿ustedes saben como a qué hora llegan a su casa? Or algo así. And so, like, do you know what time she gets home? Do you know anything, like, about her? And they'll usually be like, oh, yeah, she gets home about, like, 5 o'clock or something like that. And then that way you'll know when she gets home. And also then you'll be able to say, well, we are missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And we have a message for you that is just beautiful. We know that Joseph Smith was a prophet and all that kind of stuff, and you can go into about the restoration, just like it tells you in Preach My Gospel. But anyway, we're doing that one time, and we knocked on this door, and their name is Rosa y Alfredo. That's their names, like Rose and Alfredo. But so they had a little girl. I think her name was also Dulce. And she was pregnant, Rosa. The mom was pregnant. And I remember we knocked on her door and we said, hey, would it be okay like if we came by maybe another time and we talked to you? And she was like, yeah, my husband's not home now, but when he gets home, you're welcome to come over. And so we set an appointment and we came back and they were home and we taught them. And it was a little slow at the beginning. It was a little slow. But we had to teach them kind of fast because the culture there is when a person has a child, and you should definitely prepare yourself for this, they can't leave the house or talk to anyone or have visitors or anything for 40 days after they have a child, after they have a kid. So they have to just be in bed rest for 40 days, kind of bed rest. And when I was there, I was with Hermana Solorio. She was my companion. And we went around and we knocked on her door and she said, yeah, come on back. And we came back and we started teaching them and they were like, can we come back again? And they were like, yeah, come back. And we were like, okay. Well, this time we're going to bring you a Book of Mormon. Is that okay? Yeah, please. And so we brought him a Book of Mormon, brought him 2 Books of Mormon. And we're like, so that way you don't fight about it. And then we got to, I remember we kind of were teaching them about the Book of Mormon, and we read it with them and taking a little bit of our time so that way they had a testimony about that book. And my companion left. And I started training actually in that area, and we started visiting them and kept visiting them and kept keeping up with them, and they started reading the Book of Mormon by themselves. And I remember like we'd go and then the next week we'd come back and they'd be on chapter 15 of Nephi, and then we'd go and the next week we'd come back and they'd be on chapter 20. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm just like eating it up. Yes, keep reading the Book of Mormon. And they're like, yeah, I just think this is so cool. I love this. I love how they talk about this. I have a question about this. What does this mean? And it was amazing. Then she had her baby. And they accepted to be baptized. I remember before that they accepted to be baptized. They were like, we're not really sure and we want more time. And we said, well, there's no time like the present, really. And they accepted to be baptized. They said that they would do it, and that they were going, and that she had her baby, and me and my companion, we were counting down the 40 days, exactly. We were counting them down, and when she had her baby, we still kept texting them like, hey, you keep reading your scriptures, keep doing what you need to do. We love you. Keep reading your scriptures. And they're like, okay. And they did, and we'd send them like little scriptures and stuff like that, or just little text. And then they came back, and we got to see their little baby. And she was beautiful. She's beautiful, but they had stopped reading their scriptures. And I remember I was like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay, como, like, speaking in Spanish, thinking in Spanish, but that's okay. Like, it's not the best thing, right? But it's not the end of the world. They still have their testimonies. They still know that these things are true. They just need to keep doing the things, the small things. And sometimes it's hard, right, for even people that have been members of the church forever to do the small things. And So we told them, we're like, you know what, this is okay. We're upset that you didn't keep going, but it's okay. Like, you can change, you can be better, of course. That's what our message is about, is change and becoming more like Christ. And anyway, so we told them that they can do it. And I left that area. And I remember I went to Atlisco, and I prayed for them all the time. I was like, please bless them, just please keep them going, please help them. And in my mission, we had videos we'd send in pictures of the baptisms that we had with us and our converts, the people that got baptized, and we would have like a little video of everybody that got, baptized. And I think it was almost about 6 months later, we were watching one of those videos, and we were actually with the Nialtican. There was a zone conference, and so we were with 2 zones. And I remember I saw them, and it was like all of my prayers had been answered. That maybe it didn't even matter that I wasn't there and I wasn't in the picture with them. Of course not. Of course it didn't matter. But that they had taken that step forward, and that I could see the finish, of that part, and that they need to keep going, and that's just one step, and that they're going to be sealed in the temple. It's got to be getting to a year now, almost. And I think it was probably when was it? I was in Atlisco, so it was probably in like December, so it's got to be close to a year now. How awesome is that? That I even got to see that miracle. It's just,